Lot of activity in the National Football League. Josh Allen, who of course won the MVP, has reached an agreement on a record-setting 6-year, $330 million contract through 2030, which includes $250 million guaranteed. Sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter on Sunday it is the largest guaranteed total ever given to an NFL player. Of course, there is still that last hurdle to climb to get to the Super Bowl, but Allen put the MVP on the mantle this year. Most guaranteed money in a single contract, distinction previously held by Deshaun Watson by Cleveland. We know that was a complete catastrophe. Dak Prescott, got $1 million less than that. Joe Burrow at fourth with $219 guaranteed. Allen's yearly salary comes out to $55 million, tied for the second most behind only Dak Prescott's $60 million. A lot of news at the receiving front after being traded by the Seattle Seahawks to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a second-round pick. Adam Schefter reporting that. It is a big-time extension, 5-year, $150 million contract with Pittsburgh. He had requested the trade on the 5th of March. Devontae Adams, meanwhile, heading to the NFC West after signing with the Rams on a 2-year deal. He's one of 4 players with 1,000 receiving yards each of the last 5 seasons. Then there's this one. I want to win and I want to trade. Wait, how much money? Cleveland and Myles Garrett agree on a deal which averages $40 million per, including $123.5 million in guaranteed money, making him, I would say, deservedly so, the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. Since entering the league, his 102.5 sacks trail only T.J. Watt in Pittsburgh, who has 108. So Myles is going to stay in Cleveland. And Adam Schefter joins us now. And we're battling the shot. We know what you look like, and we're going to listen to your sweet, dulcet tones as it relates to the information here. For Pittsburgh, you got Metcalf to catch the ball, but who's going to throw him the football, Adam?
Well, Scott, that's the question right now. That I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are waiting to answer it themselves. They've been talking with Justin Fields, trying to get a deal worked out. We'll see if they can get a deal done with Justin Fields. We all know that DK Metcalf has played with Russell Wilson, has shined with Russell Wilson. The two guys are close friends, so there's always that option. And also in the mix, Aaron Rodgers, also on the has some interest in playing for the Steelers. And so right now, the Steelers are still sifting through their We'll see how it works out.
So with you here on SportsCenter with more NFL roster news that came through Sunday. The Rams announcing that they are signing Devontae Adams to a 2-year free agent deal. The Jets released Adams on March 4th as they were set to face a $38 million cap hit with Adams still on the roster. Instead, the 6-time Pro Bowler now goes to a Rams team who needs to fill the void by the expected departure of Cooper Kupp. And Adams has been a red zone magnet his entire career, still one of the top threats in the league. 40 red zone touchdowns over the last 5 seasons, that leads the league, and 6 of his 8 touchdowns last season came in the red zone. That should help a Rams team that scored a touchdown on just over half of its red zone trips last season. That ranked 25th in the league.
As we all know, the quarterback news that all Giants fans have been waiting to hear obviously dropped last night with the announcement that Tommy DeVito will be back for another season. But what about Aaron Rodgers? What about a new QB1 via the draft? What is that New York state of mind? The truth is out there. Jeremy Fowler always has it. We welcome him now to the show. Let's just start there with the biggest name. What is going on with the Giants and Aaron Rodgers?
Well, Nicole, I'm told the Giants are going into tomorrow's tampering period with a plan of attack and that they're going to have several quarterbacks on the menu and can adjust depending on how those dominoes fall. I do suspect Aaron Rodgers is one. I do suspect Sam Darnold and Justin Fields are 2 other options. A lot will depend on what Darnold chooses to do. Many people I've talked to around the league expect him to go to Seattle, sign with the Seahawks, but if that doesn't happen, there could be a lot of chaos and the Giants will be in the middle of it. But certainly there is some momentum for Rodgers. It seems not a slam dunk, but he has an option there. He has a home in New Jersey, already played for the Jets. He could just go across the way, play in New York, but depending on how these dominoes fall, he could have some other options. You know, what if Minnesota doesn't sign Daniel Jones back and then they want to bring in a veteran? Is Rodgers an option there? So a lot can happen in the next 24 hours.
As a Green Bay fan and family, the whole thought of him going to the Vikings is just Favre 2.0 all over again. Look, okay, so Davante Adams, he went from Rodgers in New York to Matthew Stafford in LA. How did that deal go down?
Well, Davante Adams, I'm told, wanted to end up in L.A. He wanted to be either a Ram or a Charger or maybe a 49er, but somewhere definitely on the West Coast where he's from. And so the Rams had a clear-cut opening. So they started to plot after they knew they were moving on from Cooper Kupp. They're probably going to lose DeMarcus Robinson in free agency. So they decided, hey, let's re-up with Tutu Atwell, one of our receivers, re-sign him, and then go after Adams leading into the end of the weekend. So they came to a sweet spot on the money. He was really considered the top wide receiver in free agency, maybe outside of Chris Godwin, who's younger. And so the Rams knew they had to get it above $20 million per year in a new deal, and they did. They made sure not to take any guesswork out of it and get it done now.
Pittsburgh is making moves with the wide receiver market, though, via a trade. They just landed DK Metcalf and then signed him to a deal after that. With that going down, where do things stand with Justin Fields?
Well, I continue to hear, Nicole, that Justin Fields is a top priority for Pittsburgh, that they've kind of been leaning that way here for the last week or so. Russell Wilson is still an option. They're keeping the lines of communication with both quarterbacks open, but I'm told Fields wants to go into free agency and just kind of understand how teams view him, what they have to say, what his market looks like. The New York Jets have had some interest now for a few weeks. They are expected to get involved and put an offer on the table sometime tomorrow, and then we'll see how things go. But certainly there's a sentiment that both sides could end up together, Fields and Pittsburgh. You know, Fields wants a clear path to start and be the starter for the full year. It seems like Pittsburgh is ready to give that to him.
It's weird that somebody wouldn't want to have a wishy-washy situation. Jeremy Fowler, thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
What is the rule?
You got to win the breakup.
You have to win the breakup, duh. But what we have here is it's a conundrum, a glitch in the breakup matrix, because Myles Garrett, he wanted a breakup with the Browns. He requested a trade, said, nope, I am done. And the owner was like, nah, wouldn't even meet with Garrett. Blah, 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 not listening. Apparently, I don't know, it's just an effective strategy because I feel like Garrett has now won a breakup without ever actually breaking up. I mean, how much would it take for you to stay with a bad ex for, say, 4 extra years? Would $123.5 million do?
Yes.
We all have a price. Garrett is now the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, but he is still in Cleveland. Garrett does have 102.5 career sacks, which is the 5th most by any player in their first 8 seasons. This new extension takes him through the 2030 season. Again, he is still with the Browns. So who is next with monopoly money seemingly flying around the NFL today? The Steelers have yet to reach a deal with TJ Watt, who's going into the final year of an extension he signed in 2021. Watt won the 2021 Defensive Player of the Year award, and he has led the league in sacks in 3 of the last 5 seasons. Also due for an extension and likely saying thank you, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons. He's one of 5 players with north of 50 sacks since 2021. Parsons has said if a deal can be reached, he does want to stay in Dallas. And arguably the most important non-quarterback in the game still does not have a new deal with the Bengals. Jamar Chase is the 5th player since the 1970 merger to win the receiving triple crown, yet tick-tock, Bengals.
Well, speaking of money, last year's MVP is now set to receive the most guaranteed money in NFL history. Sources telling Adam Schefter that Josh Allen has agreed to a new 6-year deal that will keep him in Buffalo through the 2030 season and pay him a record $250 million guaranteed. Allen, who became the 3rd Bills player to ever win league MVP, had 4 remaining years on his previous contract. So take a second now and talk about just how much money was secured on Sunday. Josh Allen again, most guaranteed money ever. Myles Garrett, most guaranteed money ever to a non-quarterback. Massive deals for both, and guess what? We haven't even hit free agency yet.
No, and we also had this today because DK Metcalf asked out of Seattle, and now he has landed in Pittsburgh. This one comes via a trade, though, in which the Steelers are sending a 2nd-round pick to the Seahawks in exchange for Metcalf. The teams are also flipping picks in the 6th and 7th rounds of this year's draft. Then post-trade, the Steelers agreed to a 5-year, $150 million contract with their shiny new toy. And Seattle now has no one of note left on their roster, which is only like sort of an exaggeration because 3 of